All right, we are live. Hang on one second. All right. We are now live on Amazon. I think we're live on YouTube. Do we have imagery on YouTube? I'm not sure. All right. We do have imagery on YouTube. Okay, so let me get myself combobulated here. And I'm not going to have a ton of time, but we'll have enough, I think, to boot this up and see what it's all about. This is another one of these Cyber Monday deals. So it's worth looking at if you are inclined and an aging gamer like I am. And stand by for 1 second. I'm just going to connect up the rest of my streams here. All right, and we'll get my other chat thing going. And now I think we're situated. So we're going to try out on the Nintendo Switch. And hopefully my stuff will come alive here. There it goes. And what we're going to play with is the Atari 50th that just came out on the Switch, but is also available on the PlayStation, the PC, and the Xbox. And yeah, so let's open it up and see what's in there. Because I had an Atari as a youth. I have a new Atari, actually, or a new one to me that I'll be doing a video on a little later in the holiday season. And that one has been AV modded. So Joe Tyson is here, CM is here, Mark is here, we're good, excellent. David Langley is here, and Finn is here. Yes, I don't have a ton of time today, but I have enough time to get this open to see what it's about, and then we'll see where we're at. So this is the Atari 50th. Let me just break the seal on it. Not a collector's item per se, but it is full of collection goodies there. Yeah, no soda pop though. I've got my my Pellegrino. That's my soda pop these days. Too many calories. I love what I really love are those Coca-Colas in the little glass bottles, but I just can't drink it as much as I used to because it's just can't have it anymore. Doesn't harm me necessarily, but I'd rather have my extra calories be chocolate, which I had right before I started. So yeah, this is the 50th collection here. This is the Switch version. And by the way, I always prefer to get my games as physical, especially on the Switch, because the games hold their value exceptionally well. So whenever you can, get them physically. And this also helps because when you take your Switch on an airplane, if you plug the physical game in, you're not hit with the DRM check when you try to get it up and running there. So that's another little tip there for you. All right, so let me get my Switch turned on here. And I've got my 8BitDo controller, which also happens to be on sale. The wired one is the one that's on sale. But this is an excellent controller. It pairs quite nicely with the Switch. Hopefully it's got charge in it still. Let's see if it'll connect up here. Usually it connects, there it goes, yep, connects right up. And my kids and my nephews were playing Super Smash Brothers, so I got to do a switcheroo here. So what we're going to do is put the game in the Switch here. So I'll pop this out. And I have an OG original Switch is what I am playing with here. I'll plug that game in. And let me show you my... Oh, one other thing you should do on the Switch. Let me show you one other thing. Let me get my camera positioned here better. Is Nintendo gives you credit every time you buy a game physically. So you get like these points if you buy them digitally. But there's also a physical credit. And so what you do, and you got to do it like pretty quick after you purchase it. So what you do is hit the start button here. And you go over to the Nintendo My Rewards program and be sure to redeem your gold credits. and then assign them to one of your users there. So you see I got 40 points, and this is money that you can spend on digital games later. And not enough people know about this. So every time you buy a physical game, and you only have like a short window in order to do that, but what you do is hit the start button and then go to My Nintendo Rewards program, because that's important to do. Is Outrun? No. So Outrun was Sega, and there's actually a really good port of Outrun on the Switch, believe it or not. It was done by, who did it? Where did I put it? I have it on here. Let's see, all software by last time played. I'm just looking through here if I can. There it is. The Sega Ages Outrun on the Switch is awesome. It's a great port of the arcade game. And it runs great, but that's a Sega game, not an Atari one. But we're going to look at the collection here on the Atari collection. So, but this one, just to show you, like, it's the original arcade that they've ported over. I'll just do a quick run through on it. But they made it widescreen, so it's enhanced, right? Like it's not like running in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but it's not stretched. They actually added real estate. So it just looks and plays great. It's a great port of Outrun. Obviously not as pure as the arcade version, which would be on a CRT, but look how nice that plays, right? It's really, really good. But we are looking at the Atari collection, though. That's what our focus is today. So let's jump into that, and we'll see. Oh, there's an update. Of course there's an update. Let's download the update. Probably won't take too long to download that. How much could there possibly be? Yep, Brandon, you are correct. So we'll wait for that. 9 hours? What? Come on now. Is it that big of an update? All right, it's speeding up now. Hopefully it's not going to be this long. This is like the theme of our live streams is there's always an update, right? There's always something that has to come down. Hopefully it's not too long. Alvin is here. It goes well. I am in good shape. And normally I would show you more, but there's not much more here. So here's your inside packaging. And it's got that cool Atari logo. Unfortunately, Atari is not the same company that it was back then. So they have the licenses to these games, but the company is long gone. But Digital Eclipse did this one. And I think they also recently did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, which I also have. So they've done, this is more than just like a collection of games. So what they've done here, and I'm just talking while we're waiting for the update to come down. What they've done here is they included all of the games they could from the Jaguar, the Lynx, the 2600, the 5200, the 7800, the 800, which was a computer, and the arcade games. Now, David Langley, I think what you're probably thinking of is Pole Position, which is their, maybe we'll do that one first. Pole Position was their game that everybody, I think, remembers. I certainly played that one quite a bit. So they have all the old games. They've got a bunch of features to explore. So they've got like some timelines and interviews and stuff. We probably won't be able to play those on the stream because that might result in a copyright problem. And then you've got they have a couple, I guess it's six all new games that are reimaginings of the original 2600 and arcade games. So it's a really nice compilation, and all the retro people that I follow, the ones that you and I can trust, were very favorable on this one. So I would love to go visit the fun spot, because I think there is something to be said about playing these games in their original formats, right? Like on the CRTs. I was at Retro World Expo recently, so they usually bring in a bunch of arcade games there, so you can get you get a feel for what they were really like. Because we'll play pole position, right? But it's not the same playing it on one of these controllers versus something else. And I have a 2600. We're going to look at this later on in the season here. I have recently picked up a 2600, and it has an AV output on it. So we can actually play it on the actual hardware and then bring it into my video system here in HD. So that's going to be kind of fun. But it's a legit 2600 console that I've got. So much. Well, here's another comment. Selling nostalgia. But you know what, though? I think what they've done here is more than the basics. And I would equate this to how, like, some of those Criterion Collection movies on DVD and now Blu-ray, give you a lot of behind-the-scenes kind of stuff and interviews and whatever. So that was what attracted me to this, was they've done more than just made a dump of ROMs, which is not challenging. I think they've put it together a nice collection and presented it in a certain way. And I got this actually because my oldest daughter is really interested in the 80s. So I thought this might be a fun way to kind of show her some of the games that I played as a kid. Yeah, I love pole position in the arcade. I had it on, I think I had the 2600 version too. So once the update comes down, we'll see what this looks like. And back in the days of the Atari, the game shipped complete and you couldn't update it. So these days it's like, well, let's get it close to where it needs to be and then ship it. And so therein lies the problem. Even though you have a physical game, it's not going to be the complete game once the Switch servers are shut off, right? Nothing is permanent anymore, sadly. But we're almost there. Let's wait for that update to come down. But yeah, I think there's a lot more on this one that I think makes it worth it. And the only reason why I even picked it up was because there was a lot of favorable reviews of this from people that I trust in the industry. It's just so funny to see the Atari logo on some Nintendo thing. I don't think people realize like how big the divisions were. And there was a time, so when the NES came out, Atari was still scraping by. And so Atari had the 7800, which was close, I think, graphically to the NES. And then they released this other thing called the XE. Look it up. And it was like a little Atari computer. It didn't have the floppy drive, but it ran the old Atari. I have some Atari cartridges back there. It ran the Atari cartridge for the computer stuff. And it had like a light gun. It was really going, like literally gunning for the Nintendo. So you had a period of time where you had Nintendo, Sega, and Atari all competing to pick up the pieces in the industry. All right, let me get my sound up here without blowing your eardrums out. Let's turn this down a little bit here. And Digital Eclipse is the company that did all this work. And I think they also did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection. So let's have a look at. So we have Arcade Origins. Oh, and it keeps the percentage. That's cool, of like where you've been, like how far you've gotten into everything. So this is where like the Lynx and the Jaguar come in. That's neat. So I like this already. It's got like a museum kind of feel to it. From its earliest days, Atari experimented with a variety of different takes on innovative leisure. This is where we get to let's take a look at the origins and see what's in here. Let me know if this is too loud. All right, so in the beginning, so there's computer space. Now, can we load up computer space? Let's see. All right, so if I go down here, so there's a video. Okay, so if I hit, oops, I went backwards here. this is the timeline. I'm just trying to figure out how this all works here. So if we go, so I can't play computer space, it seems like. I can play the video, but I can't play, so I can zoom in on it, but I can't play computer space. Computer space, though, I think is on the Mister, right? I'll have to see. So Joe Tyson's got a souped up, ooh, you got your 800 XL all ready to go. I did not have an Atari computer, and that was another big rivalry, was that people who had the, your 8-bit computer, you were dedicated to, right? So I was an Apple II guy, but there was a lot of folks who were into the Atari back then. And there's a great community on the Atari side of things. All right, so we can play Pong here. That's kind of neat. Here, I'll put the, so this is Pong as it existed in the arcade. And I can use my controller here to, and this is like a 2-player, so I'm not playing against the computer here, so I'm winning by default. Oh, I see, I can control both the right and the left here. And it's funny, you look at this, like, how could anyone find this entertaining? But this was a big deal back in its day, because like nobody could control a visual image like this before, right? That's pretty neat. All right, so that's that. How do we get out of here? Okay, so hit that. I can even do a save state. Does it do like a rewind too? Let's see if it has that. Some of these things let you like do a rewind also. I can do full screen, original. Oh, so it's got a TV filter on it too, so you can adjust the filters on it, and the border, of course. Normally, when I'm on my OLED upstairs, I turn the borders off because I don't want to get that messed up there. Look at this; it's got all this stuff. It's really cool. I like how they organize it. So I can jump in here and look at the promotional flyers, for example. This might work better on a PC, but. That's cool. Happy faces in your waiting room. Atari developed, I didn't even realize this, Atari developed Puppy Pong. That's pretty cool. And Joe's first computer was the, yes, that's what happens, right? So my first computer was actually that Timex Sinclair, that very one back there, and then we got an Apple II after that. And Mark remembers a Atari Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Yeah, I would doubt for licensing, they probably don't have that on there, unfortunately. Mohammed is joining us again. HD wants to know, I've never used the Switch. Are all these games online? So I did a video about how this all works with the Switch. So the physical games will work offline. But the digital games do need to phone home to make sure that you can play them. And I was on a plane. It actually just, I did a video about how this all works. And I was on a plane going down to Florida, and I brought we have a Switch Lite that we use in the house for the kids and my wife or whatever. So I took the Switch Lite with me, and I had a bunch of games loaded up, but I couldn't play any of them because the Switch wasn't on the internet to validate the game. Even though I had the game loaded on the Switch, I couldn't play it. So that's why I prefer to buy the games physically whenever I can. This is my daughter's Yoshi's Crafted World. But they do have online games. Not every game is available physically, but like Limited Run, of course, does a lot of that. So, all right, let's go through the timeline here. I'm guessing it's going to be, even if I jump through quickly, it's probably going to. Here's the Legend of the Broken Pong Machine. What's this about? What's the video? So I can play this video. And so this is like some, some documentary content. They actually spent some time on this, right? Yeah. I'm not going to play this because I'm sure there's probably some issues with it. But I like how they've integrated the video into the gameplay, so I can just load it up and play it. But this game I can't play, so Space Race is not available. So not every game is playable. So Breakout, though, we can play Breakout. And this one, I think, was Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs that made this game. Let's try this out real quick. Play game. Look at that. How do I hit the... How do I start the game? Let's see. Let's see, how do we get the game going here? Insert, there we go. Okay, so now I can play a little Breakout. And this, of course, is going to work better with a... Now, if I remember correctly, this game wasn't so much programmed as it was a set of hardware. So all of this was done in hardware without programming. And I think, if I remember correctly, because I'm kind of seeing this here, that there was an overlay over a black and white screen to make it color. So the screen was actually black and white, but they put a film over the screen to make it color. This will play on the Steam Deck. Yeah, it's available on Steam also. And yeah, I think just the arcade one might take a while, especially because you're going to play all the games too, right? So Mark's friends growing up had, yeah, so I had friends with the Commodore also. So I had the Apple II. My friends around the corner had the C64. And it's funny, I specifically remember my dad calling me one day. He was in New York. He's like, I can get you the Commodore today, or we can wait for the Apple. And I was like, get the Commodore, I want a computer now. And he wanted the Apple because he needed it for his business, so we waited for the Apple. But it was funny because my friends all had the Commodores and loved it. I just want to scroll through here. Super Breakout, Lunar Lander, Asteroids. This is when you start getting into the big time here. Missile Command, Asteroids Deluxe, Warlord. I love the timeline. This is so cool. Where's pole position? Let's see if we can figure out where that is. Oh, this must be later on. It's 82. Pole position was 83, maybe. Let's see. So here's the birth of the console. And we're going to do a whole video on the console. That's awesome. Here's combat. That's what came, that was the pack-in game on all the Ataris. So where's pole position? Let's see. Let me go to the game library. Gravatar. Maybe they don't have pole position. What a bummer. Why would they not have pole position on here? That was like a big deal game. Warlords, Tempest, Super Breakout, Sprint 8, Space Duel, Quantum, Pong, Missile Command, Millipede, Maze Invaders. I don't see it. That's a bummer. That's one of the enhanced games. These are the reimagined ones. So let's sort by title. That's the end of the list. I mean, there's a good amount of content on here, don't get me wrong, but no pole position. What the heck? Yeah, no, like nothing in the P's. Maybe it's an unlockable or something? How could they have pole position? Pole position was like their game, right? That's right. I remember reading that. That was where I remembered that from, right? Was from that. Yeah, Timex Sinclair. It was very inexpensive. And I think they call it the ZX81 in the UK where it originated. Yeah, it looks like it's not on there. What a bummer. And Sequest, let's try that real quick. So this was finished just for, let's go into the birth of the console and kind of work our way through that a little bit. Because I had a 2600. Now, Combat was only a two-player game, so you needed to have two players to do anything with it. Let me see if there's any games that Activision's on here. Cool, they have, yeah, they don't have any of the Activision games. I'm glad that they gave them some play here because Activision was I think made the Atari 2600 better. Pitfall, Laser Blast, I had that one. Their games were so good. And what they were is they were a group of Atari employees that escaped. That's Adventure, Dodge 'em. Here, we'll do a little Asteroids here. Yeah, I'll turn the sound back on so you can hear it. So if you hit, so you would turn left and right to move the ship. Oop, and then you could move, you could thrust with, oop, hang on. So if you hit, oops, yeah, if you hit up, you could thrust. And then if you hit down, you would do the hyperspace where you would disappear. So like I could go, boop, but you don't know where you're going to pop back up again. And to slow down, you got to thrust in the opposite direction, which is easier said than done. So I remember when I was a kid, I only wanted to keep my ship in the center, and sometimes you would accidentally hit up or down, and it would move your ship, and it was very frustrating because I could never get the ship back to where it started. Just love that sound, though. It was a... Oh, there you go. I do like the borders they have on it, though. It's pretty nice. So what about, is Space Invaders on here? And this is the big, there's a whole document. I think it was Microsoft or Xbox that did the documentary where they dug up the games from the dump. This is Yars' Revenge. There's not a lot on here. I'm surprised. You know, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that there's not as many games on here, especially from the 2600 era. Is that all there is? Let's go to the game library. So let's sort by platform. All right, so if we go, we have 3D Tic-Tac-Toe, Adventure, Air Sea Battle, Asteroids. Now what's this? Oops. Hang on. Is this like an unlockable thing or something? The walls come crashing down. Disorder. When that game's special board is cleared. Okay, so there is some unlockables here. So maybe Space Invaders is in that group? Because that's a real classic. Yeah, it's not on here. And they have the 5200, 7800. Ninja Golf. And they got some Lynx games. And these are, so that's that XE I was talking about. This game was fun. I had this on my ColecoVision. Miner 2049er. I love the filtering on it. It does look like, it's a very convincing CRT. I will say the game was better on the ColecoVision. It played faster. And so what you have to do is get I guess when they're blue you can get them. You have to turn all of these platforms to a different color. Oh, I guess Atari did not develop Space Invaders. I was not aware of that. Because I always associated the Atari with Space Invaders. So do you know what games are unlockable on this? Now, Ghouls and Ghosts is a Capcom game, so that's not going to be on here. And this is the physical. I have the physical one right here. Yeah, that's a problem, you know, is a lot of the Atari 2600 in particular there was a lot of licensed games on it. So we're going to have some fun when we get my system out, because there's going to be a lot more to this. Now these are the Jaguar games. Let's try this one, Missile Command 3D. So this is from the Atari Jaguar era. And David says, playing on the Switch. I buy Atari stuff when it appears on Steam, but these games I don't recall. Yeah, this is the new collection. This is on Steam too. You can get I have it on the Switch, but this collection is available across all platforms. So I think it's on everything right now. And this is a Jaguar game we're going to play right here. Let's see. Let's try the 3D mode. I never had a Jaguar. I never played with one. I never actually played a Jaguar game before. This might be my first Jaguar gaming experience. Oh, I see. So you mark the spot, and then the missile comes in. That's pretty cool. So this would be 1994-ish. I missed that one. And the other missile's coming in here. I'll give you the other view. Yeah, I could get by with this one. Let me turn the sound on here. I got it. There's another one. Got it. That's pretty neat. Yeah, this one is available on every platform. Yeah, and let's go back here. So let's see what else they have on here. So I haven't unlocked, so I guess I have to play a little bit to unlock some of these other games. But no Space Invaders, no Pole Position. Pole Position, I was surprised, because that was definitely an Atari game. Let's see what Ninja Golf is. I do think they've done a nice job with the CRT filtering here, too. It looks legit. So you're a ninja who's going to golf. Oh, and you got to fight? Oh, what is this? So there's golf and you get beat up by other ninjas? Ooh. This is pretty wild. Ninja Golf. I'll put this up here so you can see what we're playing with. Is that a frog? This is crazy. I think I heard about this game at some point along the way, but never actually played it. Oh, that was a power up. All right, so I'm gonna hit the ball again. And I guess I want to hit it farther away, right? So let's go. There we go. At least they wait for you to hit the ball before they try to kill you. Oh, so I thought that was Atari. I guess not. Okay. Well, I think Pole Position should be on here, because I always considered that an Atari game. I thought Atari. I guess did they do the arcade cabinet, or that was all Namco? I know I had it on my 2600, but. Yeah, and it's on PS5 and PS4, and of course on the Xbox and on Steam. So they've put it into everything. But I think one of the problems is with all these things is that this is I'm actually glad that it's not comprehensive in the sense. It's comprehensive in the sense that I think they cover the history quite well. So in case you're just joining us, what they do on this collection here is they package it up really nicely. So when you load it up, it takes you on a timeline from the beginning. And so you can go in and, so you can't actually play Computer Space, but they've got a video you can play about the formation of the company, how it all came together. Here's a video on a 1973 documentary titled Games Computers Play. This is Nolan Bushnell, who was the founder of Atari, talking about what went on there. So I like this a lot, because it takes you kind of through the whole the whole timeline. And then when there's a game you can play, so for example, here's Breakout. We can learn all about Breakout, and then we can play it. This is when Warner acquired Atari. That was not good for the company. I think that's when things started going downhill. Did they do drugs in Atari? Here's Sprint 8, an 8-player driving game. It was a massive cabinet featuring 8 steering wheels, 8 sets of gas and brake pedals. And here's a promotional flyer, so we can zoom in on that. Is there a second page? Yeah. And you can zoom in and kind of read. It'll probably be better to read on a PC, but pretty cool. So I like that they took some time here. Then you can go and play the game. Let's hit the start button here. I'll turn the audio back on. And so this would normally have people all around the cabinet playing. And obviously not as fun to play without a steering wheel. And I guess you could drive right off the course. Ah! Yeah, a little tricky on this one. I got to figure out how to put my car into high gear. Oh. There we go. So it's the two upper buttons put it into... There's definitely a nuance to it that you have to kind of get the hang of. Whoa. There we go. Now I'm cooking. I'm the red car, by the way. There we go. I got some fun with this one with the kids later. But you see how so you're in there like learning about it, and then you can jump in and actually play it, which I think is really cool. So that's neat. This one's called Fire Truck. And we can look at the... So we can jump in and play that one. Oops. Ah, hit the wrong button. Let's go back to Fire Truck so I can go X play game. Oh, play start. Oh, I can pick the playwright I'm going to play with here. Okay, so how do we... There we go. Oh, jackknifing. This is kind of neat. I don't think I remember ever playing this game. I definitely don't remember playing this game as a kid. But it shows you some of the experimentation that they were doing. And look how nice it runs. Now, granted, I'm only streaming at 30 FPS, but it feels like it's a real steady 60. I'm totally screwing this up. Yeah, you get the idea. Pretty neat. And it takes you right back in. Super Breakout, Lunar Lander. Let's try that real quick. So we can go ahead and X and play that one. I don't believe there are any motion controls on this one. And Tornado said playing the back half on the real... Oh, so somebody controlled the back half and somebody controlled the front half. Interesting. Now, I had this game on, or a version of it on my Apple II, and I remember how hard it was. All right, so insert one or more coins. Push start. Okay, so let's give this a shot. So this is my lunar lander. And you get extra points for landing in certain spots here. And you have only so much fuel. Uh-oh. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. It seems to, like, whenever I initiate thrust here, it counteracts my... Oh, that's pretty neat. Yeah, there you go. There were no survivors. I could imagine that. All right, let's try this again. So I think oh, you know what it is? You have to not be moving when you initiate your burn. Otherwise, you're See, like right now I'm out of control. This is Kerbal Space Program before Kerbal Space Program. Can we land in there? Let's see. Oh. Ah! This one's hard. I could see people dropping a lot of quarters in this one. One more game, right? Yeah, I think Breakout 2 in particular, like the paddle, without the paddle. Exactly. I got to see if I can track down my paddle controls at my mom's place for my other one. Yeah, and I think there's some real value to having the original controls for sure. Yeah, this is why you don't want me landing on the moon. That's pretty cool. All right, so that was that one. And I got a jet here in about 10 minutes. I got to get to a meeting here. Now, is this is the arcade asteroids? Yeah. So this one was a vector game that used a vector display. Let me turn the audio back on here. Yeah, that's how it's done. Now this one had buttons for, I think, yep, there was the hyperspace button there. Since I came out right in the wrong spot. And that's my thrust, okay. But I like how they, here, I'll pull up the full screen here so you can get a feel for it. I like how I think it pretty nicely replicates a vector display. You see how like my little guy there is a little brighter than everything else? Here's the UFO. Yeah. Definitely some elements of Lunar Lander in that you've got the counteracting thrust and stuff, right? I am rusty. It did my job for me. All right, level 2. Oh, there we go. That's neat. Yes, notice it says, yes, it requires the spinner. Yeah, so this one right now on Amazon for the consoles, I think is like $30. At least it was. I'm not sure if it's still on sale or not. Let me check my link here. Is it on sale still? It was. Oh, they ran out of stock. Figures, right when I start the video, they run out of stock. That's what happened. So much for that. It was in stock when I started. There you go. Yes, I got to play a little bit more with it before I pass judgment. It's limited by the licensing issues, right? So that I think is my biggest complaint about it. Is that. And I'll have to see if I can figure out a way to test this. I'm sure somebody tested the frames of lag. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even push this to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn gave you the update before everything else did, huh? Interesting. Yeah, the notifications don't work anywhere. I think on Amazon, they will notify you if you haven't had too many notifications yet for the day. So if you get like a shipping notification and a few others, you may not get the live notification on Amazon. I think they kind of rate limit how many times they bug you. So here's the links. A friend of mine had a links. Remember, it was amazing for its time. So Ninja Golf 7800. So let's see where the links games. So the links games are in here, but not right away. So there's a video there. And then they have the 7800 games mixed in. Oh, wow, this is like a 1990. I didn't really, oh, this is kind of neat. So this is a cool idea, right? So, or nights that they included this. Fatal Run. One of the final releases was a 2600 version of Fatal Run with 32K of memory with 16 times the size of Combat. Huh, let's play that one real quick. It still looks like an Atari 2600 game, though, that's for sure. It's hard to get away from that, right? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. I think something is breaking in my vehicle. Pole Position was very similar to this in how it played. Except in Pole Position, if you hit a car, you would you go boom. Nope. That's pretty cool. But you know, 1990, like that would have not sold. I mean, if you had an Atari, I guess you'd maybe look at that as a potential game to play, right? But all right, so here's the newly redesigned links. Wow, I didn't realize it went down to $100. That's like, that was like within, it's only $10 more than the Game Boy was at the time. But they didn't have a lot of games for it, so that's probably part of the problem. Here, let's pull up the links game real quick. Now this won't look as good because you're watching it on a huge screen. Ah, pretty cool. They thought of it. I was just thinking like, I'm not sure how it's gonna look. But they accounted for it. And you notice here, like it had scaling and rotation, or at least scaling on a handheld, which none of the consoles at the time, I think the Super Nintendo had it. But this came out in around 90 or 89 when the Game Boy first came out. So it looked pretty cool. It just did not have a deep library, if I remember correctly. So that's neat. But I think the games were better on the... Here's a basketball game. The games were better on the... All right, let's start the game here. On the Game Boy. This game does not run nearly as fast as the other one did. I guess you can play basketball and use knives. Jeez. That was the 90s games for you. It's like Double Dragon and basketball in one. Yes, this is the opposite. The other game is the opposite of Pole Position. Now, Tornado has 2 Lynx 2 units. How are they still working pretty good? What was the one that the airplane game? That was the one that blew me away. Was Blue Thunder? Was that what it was called? That one looked awesome. And they dropped the price again to $80. They were giving it away practically. And the Jaguar came into being. They have a lot of Jaguar games on here actually. Cybermorph. This is a pack-in. Let's play this real quick and then I gotta run. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right, I'm in, let's go.
Good luck.
That's right, it has this like lady that talks to you the whole time, right? How do I move the ship here? Probably should look at the instructions. Oh, it's going backwards. There we go. Now this flat shaded look was like all the rage back then in like the early 90s because you had all these VR things. So you could go to the mall and do virtual reality, and this is what it looked like. It was like this flat shaded polygon deal. So this would have been well received at the time. And there was a couple of games on the 3DO that were similar to this, but played better, had better graphics.
Well done.
Oh, she comes up and talks to you every time you do something. But when you look at like what you were getting on the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo at the time that this came out, this was like, wow, this is the next generation. This is what it looks supposed to look like. And Tornado says Cybermorph is not good. All right, let's take a look at a couple more here. I'm going to dig deeper into this, but I just wanted to kind of play around with it a little bit. Here's Dino Dudes. Malibu Bikini Volleyball. And some more advertising and stuff. Tempest 2000. This game was like, I think this was regarded as probably one of the better games, right? Let me pull up. There we go. Up and down to select level. Yeah, this was. I think this is one of the more highly regarded games on the. Oh, caught me. Not very good at it. Oh, shot ya. That looks pretty cool. That was Tempest 2000. All right, you know what we'll do before I got to run? Let's take a look at one of the kids are coming home. I got to get everybody situated here. Let's see. Let's go to the game library here, and we will do the reimagined games here. See some unreleased prototypes. I got to do some more unlocking, it looks like. So here's the Yar's Revenge. Let's try this one. Victor's. All right, let's take a look at this one. This one is one of the redesigned games. Then I got to go. Well, it looks cool. All right, move, fire, and shield. Okay. Oh, that's cool. It's a twin stick shooter. All right, I'm ready. Let's play. All right. I like it. I like it. So Digital Eclipse made this one specifically for this collection. It looks cool, doesn't it? Oh, this is neat. So it kind of becomes like a homage to Lunar Lander. It's actually easier to play. Oh. I say that now as I'm about to crash into this thing here. We tried. But it looks like you have to land, otherwise you're not playing anymore. Okay, so let's try to land it here. Oh. This is why I'll never be an astronaut. I think I should have landed on that one. This is cool though. This I'm gonna play. That is cool. And yeah, so it's like an homage to all the games that we were just playing in the vector format. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna have to play around with that one a little bit more. All right, people are looking for me. I've got to get to a meeting, but I wanted to boot this up and see how it plays. We're gonna do more with this, so stay tuned. And I want to thank you all for tuning in and providing your feedback, and more to come. So this was a quick one, but we'll be back with more in the near future, and I will catch you all on the next stream. Okay, bye-bye. Rosanna, thank you for the follow on Amazon.